We are declaring war here at the casino today.
There is war
on the Ricada janitors. And there's going to be no mercy for the Ricada janitors. All of those that are trying to sweep it up. And it's just as I predicted it would go. At first, they started attacking the pastor and attacking the church. And they're still doing that.
Yeah.
But I said they're actually going to get to the point where they attack the children. And we're actually at the point now where Ethan Van Sciver is saying the children are lazy. It was the children's fault this happened. The children needed to step up. Like, this is fucking
it's better for them.
Shit.
It's better for them. This happened.
They're actually going to grow and develop as people and be better people because this happened.
EVS is sick.
He's sick in the fucking head.
He's bad, bud. He's twisted.
This is the shit that we're actually dealing with now. Where instead of asking Ricada to take responsibility for being a cokehead, a baldo wearer, a cuckold, a degenerate fiend, having guns stored improperly around his children, instead of Ricada taking any responsibility for any of that, his children being hungry, his children being stinky, instead, it's the children who need to take responsibility for it.
What?
It's just fucking lunatic shit.
Back in my day, we used to make our own cereal. Okay, go ahead.
But this standard would not be applied to anybody else.
No!
If this was some black e-celeb or just some random black guy, most of these motherfuckers would put them up on the cross.
What if it was Eric July?
If it was Eric July who did this,
he'd be hung.
We would never, ever, ever hear the end of it. But Ethan Van Sciver still to this day tries to say that Eric July being like Marvel is a bigger problem for society than Ricada not feeding his children and being a cokehead. Like, he's actually trying to argue this shit and trying to push it. And it's just insane. And the people doing this, it's like, are you okay? Like, do you have fucking brain damage? And if say this, if with Melanie Mack, if this was a gay person or a gay couple that fucking did this, right? It would be this is the degeneracy of same-sex adoption.
Hell on
earth. They can't be allowed to have kids because they didn't feed them. But because it's Nicholas Ricada of LawTube, we have to sweep it up for him. When if it was a gay couple or a black couple that was doing this degenerate swinger shit, cokehead shit, they would be absolutely nailed to the cross, but Ricada gets a broomstick and a pass.
Or
it's
if it was
bullshit.
A leftist, if it was a journalist, if it was like anyone that they talk shit about, it would be like, they're the worst people. But when it's Ricada, sweep it up. No, it's the kid's fault. Pray for him.
And you know
nothing to see here.
You know what they're trying to say is that anybody who criticizes him is a social justice warrior.
Yes.
This is fucking beyond delusional. You don't have to be a social justice warrior to condemn child abuse. I don't know why this is such a fucking hard concept to understand. I don't get it. It's like, no, you must be a leftist trying to suppress speech and freedom. You're an SJW. Like, these tactics don't work anymore. It's 2024. You can't just SJW jacket Andy Worski.
Yes!
This is insane.
By the way, you know what's so funny, Ashton? How we get called out for being too edgy. They've said slurs in the past.
Too far to the right wing.
Or this or that. But the minute
this or that.
The minute we say anything that you don't agree with, they're being leftists.
They're leftists, or they're Jewish controlled, or they're SJWs. It's just fucking full-on cope and delusion.
What is it? Are we too fucking on the right, or now we're left? Like, what is it?
Oh, I know.
And he woke-ski, very funny. Yeah.
It's woke-ski.
This is like, dude, this is just like when a leftist goes, everyone I don't like is Hitler. It's like the same shit. It's like, he has these points of views. It's the Hassan cope. It's the Hassan fucking cope.
What I don't understand is why these guys can't just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
They just won't shut the fuck up and just let it go. They have to defend him. And they have to try and force this insane worldview. It's like, well, in centuries past, children worked in the coal mines. It's like, so? Like, we're supposed to go back to that? Like, is it a good thing that children were working in the coal mines as young as 5 years old during the Industrial Revolution? Well, it made them strong. It's like, okay, by this same sort of argument they're making, it's like, back in the 1890s, the age of consent was 10 years old. Are you saying we should go back to that as well? Like, well, it's a traumatizing experience that'll toughen them up. This is the shit that these people are saying.
But what about the child porn?
But
like, it's absolute madness.
Look, I'll say this too. Yes, when I was younger, my parents were at work. I had to microwave like pizza pops. I had to make some cereal. I had to do this. I had to do that. Yeah. No, I understand that. Look, kids should be able to make their own cereal.
But guess what? When there's no cereal in the house to make,
exactly,
then there becomes a problem.
And when your house has mold,
they're supposed to step up. The older one is supposed to work full time while going to school, while performing all the domestic duties for his 4 siblings. How about fuck you? And it's like, you know, they bring up examples of like families in poverty that are struggling. I consider that completely irrelevant, considering this family wasn't in poverty. This is a family of millionaires. Do you understand? Like, Rekieta made $1.2 million in super chats, but his kids don't have food or clean clothes. And this guy's like, oh, well, you know, why didn't they go to the laundry machine? Well, the laundry machine is past the master bedroom. So they'd have to go through a crack den where 4 to a bed, their mother and father are fucking strange men and women, Aaron and fucking April, and watch this degenerate shit to get to the. I wonder why they didn't want to go to the washing machine.
And by the way,
like, they're like, these kids ratted on their parents at the first opportunity. It must have been bad for these kids to come forward and say something. It was years of neglect. And months of, it seems like, supreme neglect where they didn't even have the nanny to take care of them. So I don't want to fucking hear this bullshit from these people. They're absolute fucking scumbags. They don't care about the kids at all. They don't care about how much of a danger Rekieta is to himself and to others. All they care about is sweeping for Rekieta so they can make money and get viewers from him. It's shameful.
And Ash,
it's shameful as fuck.
Ash, let's just say in a hypothetical that the laundry was available. It was there. It was right in that. All right, cool. Should the 16-year-old have to do laundry for 2 years for his younger siblings? No, that's insane. Once in a while, you have to learn how to fucking do it. Sure, but you're now raising, and there's a law against turning a child into a parent. Right? Under 18, you can't parentalize a kid.
No, but why didn't the kids go to work to support Rekieta's coke habit?
Right?
Why didn't the kids go get jobs and give their dad money for coke and drugs?
Your parentification, that's what it's called. Yeah.
Why are the kids neglecting Rekieta and his drug habit? Rekieta has a right to snort cocaine under the law.
Right?
And that's what the founding fathers intended, was for Rekieta to be able to snort cocaine all day and get drunk as fuck. And the children should be working in order to support that habit. Why shouldn't Rekieta be able to send them to the fucking coal mines to work? I mean, this is where their train of logic leads to. The train of logic that these guys want is for society to have no protections for children. And we're going to watch Dick Masterson argue as such.
Yeah.
He's like, the police should never be called for any fucking reason. And it's just like, what sort of delusional world are you in, man?
And by the way, there's a big difference between a kid having to make his own cereal or whatever, or like learn how to do laundry, right? Because the parents are at work. There's a big difference between that and the parents are having swinger fucking sex orgies and on coke. There's a big difference between, hey, mom's working 3 jobs, I gotta make my... No,
they say,
it wasn't that.
It happens. It happens in other families, so it's okay. But no, it's not. It's not okay in those families, and it's not okay in this circumstance now. But at least some of those other families have like poverty as an excuse, or
at least there's an excuse of like, hey, mom, a single mom, she's at work.
80 hours, they're fucking having a really hard time. Like, you know what I mean? This guy, he doesn't have any stress really in his life whatsoever. He's a live streamer that streams once to twice a week.
You know, Dick.
Do you understand? Like, he's not working a real job. It's not comparable
Folks,
to other circumstances.
You're about to see Dick. He'll say that because Nick left the sermon once or twice, that the pastor was so angry about this, created the conspiracy to have him locked up. And it's insane. And the sister-in-law, well, you've all had sister-in-laws. They're all bitches, right? Oh, I'm sure they all hated Nick. It's a conspiracy. Shut the fuck
it's
up,
honestly
Dick.
the lowest level contrarian bullshit. His worldview is the worldview of an edgy 16-year-old child that never developed any sort of maturity, perspective, or worldview whatsoever. It's pathetic. And he's like, well, you know, this is church people and police that are saying this shit. You can't trust those people. It's like, I don't know, a lot of conservatives consider church people and the police to be the pillars of a society. Like, I don't know. Like, a lot of church people there, they try and be honest, you know? If you can't believe them, I don't know who you can believe. Because they tend to take the truth pretty seriously.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
now, sometimes there is drama and there's disputes within the church and stuff like that. But this wasn't that. It clearly wasn't that.
also,
They had intervened several times asking him. And that's why Rekieta was seething at the church on his live stream over and over and over again, because they kept trying to get him to stop neglecting his children. And finally, it got to the point where the kids were so hungry and so stinky that they were pleading to their Sunday school teacher for help.
Yeah. Also, when police are corrupt, right, there's usually a benefit for the police. Money, they're like, you know, shielding some politician. What conspiracy do the police have to have Nick arrested? Like, what conspiracy? What benefit does the police department of Minnesota, St. Cloud, Minnesota, have to put Nick in jail? It's not like Nick was about to expose the mayor or like, you know, there's money in taking down Nick. There's no conspiracy.
There was no serious investigative journalism on a local level against anybody on city council or the mayor or the police chief. The guy could barely stay awake on live stream because he was so fucked up on drugs. Like, this is not like some like rabid critic of the government that's defending individual liberty and he had to be shut down, or there was whistleblowers, government workers came to him like Edward Snowden and he was like Julian Assange. This is not reality. That's fucking delusional. The guy was talking about fucking internet drama and Denny's jokes high out of his fucking mind is what he was doing. He wasn't even talking about legal cases anymore. But oh no, he was the whistleblower exposing the government, the next Julian Assange.
Right?
I'm sure.
It's so like there's no reason that this is like a conspiracy. Why? Because the pastor was upset. He walked out of the fucking.
Well, we got
what?
cheesy